Cavalier faithful, welcome back on into Cavs Encapsulated, episode 4, live. We are 3 hours before tip-off here, trying to round out this West Coast road trip. I know we have the game tonight, and then I believe we are in Portland.
Yep.
But then we finally get to maybe come home, I think, against Detroit. We're going to talk about all those games. We're going to talk Cavs-Warriors review, sweeping the season series against the Golden State Warriors, something that is definitely on the bucket list going into every NBA season. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Cavs-Kings preview, and then we are going to, of course, predict this upcoming week of games. It is chock full with matchups against some lesser opponents. Finally, I think tonight's an interesting game. We'll see if De'Aaron Fox is ready to go. I know Logan has thoughts about that, but let's do a quick, let's talk about the game the other night. Cavs Warriors. Logan, we sweep the season series against them. What stood out to you in that game that really, you were pleased with watching as a fan?
Logan's going to take my point. I know it already, but go ahead, Logan.
I don't know. We'll see. To me, when you talk about teams getting better and better, it's about getting the wins in the games that you used to not be able to. So, like in 2021, we always talked about we can never win in Miami. Oh, we won in Miami. Or, when you see those little things, you can't beat the Golden State Warriors for 12 straight times. Now you swept a season series. I guess what stood out to me, not only in the last game, but the game before that, for the most part, the Cavaliers kind of handled them, right? I mean, I throughout both of those games was never like, oh, we're going to blow this. Or you have seen animated Logan in our group chats. And I feel like for both the Warriors games, I was relatively calm. I was more appreciative and happy for the Cavs rather than immediately freaking out on every possession. I think it was the way they just controlled them. They used their size. They pissed off Draymond. And, he's a ticking time bomb. And if you keep poking at him, he's going to eventually explode. Cavaliers know that very well. Go out there and get a great victory. And I think it might just we're just riding a high here in Cleveland right now. It might influence my decisions later on my predictions for sure. I think tonight's going to be some heavily contested predictions, but Justin, go ahead. I don't know if he stole your point, but I'm curious.
He hinted at it. My big point is there was a game last year that was very similar to this one where a certain thing happened, and after said game, we kind of went on a little bit of a winning streak. Now, catch me if I'm wrong on this, but if you guys remember, Donovan Mitchell last year getting hit in the you-know-whats by one Dylan Brooks and getting up and getting in his face and, kind of standing up for himself, standing up for the team and whatnot, letting people know that they're not going to stand for this. Same thing happens against Draymond. Like Logan was saying, he's a ticking time bomb. The dude just wants to get into fights, wants to get into stuff. He's always talking. And when you get a guy like that who can rile up the players who will, get riled up, he's watching him talk to Donovan's watching him talk to Jared Allen. He's, bumping, he's pushing Donovan for no reason. And Donovan comes back and literally just pushes him. It was blatant that Donovan came down the line and just pushed him, but so was the push on him. And then from that point, Donovan's engaged, everyone's engaged, and the team goes out and gets a huge win. Again, when was the last time we won a game in Golden State? I saw something crazy that I thought was 2013 or 2014 outside of in the regular season. And outside of playoffs and postseason stuff. So
you might be right.
But yeah, I mean that's one game where it can, and we talked about it, this year is going to be a struggle to string along games and string along win streaks. Obviously, we haven't done it yet, but I think that coming off of this game and going up against the opponents that I see as of right now, we could string a couple here together coming off of that kind of performance, coming off of that kind of energy. So that was my big thing.
It's been disappointing. Obviously, we're kind of slow out of the gates, but the wins that we have are wins that I really care about. First game on the road in Brooklyn, haven't won in a game on the road since New Jersey back in 2003 or some crazy stat. We finally exercise our demons with the Knicks and get a big-time win in New York. And then we take down the Golden State Warriors 2 times early in the season. So I think you learn a lot from those victories more than, the couple of L's we've taken. It's some pretty good competition altogether.
I think NBA is the sport where you have to have some schedule momentum. And I think that Sure, we've had injuries. Could we have weathered this early part of the schedule perhaps a little bit better and probably had one or two more wins? I think that that's a valuable piece of criticism, but I just can't tell if we are fully rolling the correct way as far as confidence, especially these last two games. You lose to Oklahoma City. Okay. But then, like you guys have said, we kind of come out and handle Golden State. So I think tonight is your opportunity. Another game on the road, West Coast affair, to really get the ball rolling in the right direction because you were playing lesser talent after this, like I talked about at the top. Portland, Detroit, teams that you are definitely more talented than, and they're beatable games regardless of where you are playing those contests. However, as far as what I saw in that most recent game against Golden State is that I am going to just be box score watching and scoreboard watching all year long, I think, with this team, because it only makes sense when we have success. The box score always looks like this. Mitchell with 21, everybody else sprinkled in there, stuffing the stat sheet, having double-digit scoring nights. Sure, Niang plays 19 minutes and scores nothing, but, you get 8 from Dean Wade off the bench. I still think we're going to talk about some negatives a little bit before we talk, some preview here with the Kings game. The bench is still weak. I don't know what it is. I know that some of these guys were kind of like last minute subs, and that's why they have, goose eggs across the board, but 19 minutes for Niang, 0 points. Not totally acceptable. Wade.
Give Karras his flowers, man. Give Karras his flowers.
Absolutely. I think
this season.
Logan, is he your early MVP to start this year so far outside of Donovan Mitchell?
Especially with the injuries we've had to deal with, and he has stepped in and played his role. Yes, absolutely. I still get so frustrated sometimes. I see that fall away mid-range shot that I feel like literally never goes in. Literally. But outside of that, Karras has played not only great on the offensive side, but he's been locking up some of the team's best players throughout these games. And now I've seen Laker outlets saying, if Karis LeVert is available, they should go get him. Now they know the Lakers want him, that means he must be good. So that's how I kind of quantify or qualify talents when, the Lakers want him all of a sudden. So, yeah, I got to give Karras a big shout out because you're right, Jeffrey. This bench has been really, really weak to start and certainly has not lived up to our expectations. But Karras is the one bright spot, and it's been a bright spot overall.
It's just like to follow up with you though. Is it rotations? And I'll bring the same question to Justin because he guys is our in-house rotation guru. Is it rotations? Is it JB just doesn't have the right people out there in lineups, or is it just like, okay, we're only 9 games in. Do we just have to let these guys figure it out on their own? And are we going to get clunkers from Niang all season long? Are we going to have some games where Strus is pretty much a non-factor? Not that he was in this previous game, but, we've seen some of that to a certain extent so far this year. Is that something we just have to overcome in the early outset of the season, or could we do something better as a coaching staff?
It's personally pissing me off that we haven't had 1 through 8 guys just be healthy the first 10 games of the season.
That's fair.
Listen, I know the feelings of Isaac Okoro. He's looking good this season, but missing him for the past 3 games, we could have used him against the Thunder, against SGA for sure. And that's one that you're like, man, you want to see 1 through 8 play. And again, like Jeff said, Niang just throwing up consistent clunkers and not getting even rebounds. The one thing that I'll give to Dean Wade, even outside of fouling out, is at least the dude came up with 7 boards. My golly, look at the rebounds from that game. Everyone contributed to the rebounding, and we didn't win it or anything, but those are the type of games where you're like, hey, we need to make an extra effort because some things aren't going our way as typically as they used to. And something's going outside my window. What the hell? Back for the first time in 2 weeks, and things are going on. But yeah, for me, it's just like JB's in a blender because this is what always happens when JB is contested with having to make difficult decisions. He doesn't really know what to do. He knows that he can play his star guys for 30 plus minutes and just ride them out. But what is that good for in the longevity of this season? Guys are going to get small or soft tissue injuries, and then we're going to be missing even more people. So for me, it's unfortunate that we just haven't seen the full power of this team. I don't think yet. Obviously, maybe there was 1 or 2 games when Jarrett and DG first came back, but those games weren't pretty. So It's just tough. It's hard for JB to like go off and have to do all this without his 1 through 8 guys, and then trying to work in. You notice that we haven't seen Jones in forever, and we're seeing more.
Oh no,
Tristan Thompson.
He's done.
Yeah,
Jones is done.
Yeah. So again, he's already gone away from what he initially thought he was going to start the season with in terms of rotations and in terms of guys. Ty Jerome, we haven't seen him. Obviously, he's hurt and everything. But still, there's a lot of things that are just going on early on in this season where it's like, weather the storm, just weather the storm. And I think those first 8 to 9 games that we've played already have been the storm. So hopefully, like Jeff said, weaker competition coming up. Hopefully some guys can get back on track.
Absolutely. And huge shout out in the chat. MZC member for 2 straight months. He says Okoro for MIP. I don't know if that's serious or not, but I would like to see Okoro get back in this rotation because I think he was playing really good basketball. And once again, can somebody talk me off the ledge with these injuries? Why is it in basketball where you have less severe injuries than, let's say, for example, the game of football? I feel like when somebody gets hurt in football, within 90 minutes after the game being over of the exact injury, they just put out this nonsense injury report, Okoro in parentheses, knee. How many games has he been out? Has he been out 5 games?
3 or 4.
I think it's certainly coming.
Is tonight 4? What is the injury?
I think tonight is 4.
Is it a sprain? Is it a piece? Is it a CL? Is it one of the CLs? Like what is it? Because it must be pretty bad because you don't play games, every day in the National Basketball Association. He's definitely been on the injury report for like 10 plus days, and we have no timetable for his return. We have no idea what his injury is. Same way with Jerome. What, an ankle? Okay.
That's the back.
Is it sprained?
We don't even know how he got hurt. Like I feel like that was the question. The second time we saw him on the injury report was like, do we remember how this guy got hurt? Did we see him get hurt? And then it's just
so Justin, your frustrations are shared because not only do we not have 1 through 8 guys basically all season long through 10 games and through the first, basic month of the season at a minimum, but they have undisclosed injuries. So I guess is Okoro what JB might just need everybody to be able to put a lineup together.
And the baffling part about it is like a guy like CPJ, who is obviously a Ty Jerome or an Isaac Okoro backup, isn't seeing minutes now. Like he saw there was one game where he saw 10 plus minutes, and then he played well, and then now he's dropped off. And I get it. He's a 2-way player. He has to go and play in the G League, whatever you think that's worth. But he held his own, and whatever game he had 10 plus minutes in, I'd like to see I'd like to see JB have a little bit more faith in the younger crowd that we have. And obviously it doesn't just, include CPJ or Amani Bates. Where's Isaiah Mobley? Jeff has been pounding the table for Isaiah Mobley. He's a big. Yeah, granted, is he huge? No, he's not bigger than Jared Allen or Evan Mobley. But hey, is he someone who can go get rebounds, maybe stand in the corner and hit a couple threes? That's what he's doing in the G.
Does that?
Yeah. So I don't know. For me, it's frustrating just because I know JB has his he had a lineup going into this year, and right off the bat, injuries, and now he's just in a blender, which typically happens with JB.
I don't like JB in a blender.
Logan, but how do you feel about that? Like, is it rotations? Yeah. Is it Niang is just going to have to come along and play better? Is Dean Wade going to have to? My biggest fear, before I kick it over to you, is that we are once again in a position, whether it's injuries, whether it's JB, whether it's circumstances throughout games, that we're asking people to do a lot more than what we expected them to do as far as us 3 preseason. Like I don't think Dean Wade's giving you 15 and 8, as an average every time he steps on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, the issue right now is we don't want to become predictable, right? When you have guys down like we do, when you have weapons, I wouldn't say weapons. I mean, when you have players at your disposal that you could use, like we mentioned, CPJ, he's a fantastic defender. I mean, really, really good defender that didn't get a whole lot of credit for, just how ready he is as an NBA defender. But when you have these guys at your disposal, why would you not try something different? Because I'm telling you what, whether we do well or not this year, whether we have 50 wins or not this year, if you keep asking Donovan freaking Mitchell to bail you out of every single game, I think that's going to factor in just as much to a decision that he has to make here in a year or two as anything else. Like, oh my God, do I want to keep carrying the hell out of my team? Obviously, Darius Garland has played like crap for the first, 6 games he's played this year. And I don't, you can go ahead and argue in the comments if you want. I love Darius Garland. He's playing like crap. I mean, turnover, he's a walking turnover right now to a point where, I mean, let's be fair to him. Golden State, I thought he played a pretty good game. I thought he played, I think he looked more controlled. And that's what he needs to do. He needs to slow down because this fast-paced offense, it's really fun and dandy and good, but it doesn't seem to work for some of our players. I don't think Garland's been a beneficial. I don't think he's benefited from it. I would even say Evan Mobley hasn't really benefited from it. I think really it's Mitchell, Okoro, Allen, those kinds of players that have benefited. Max Strus, I would even say. But I do think right now it's having everything there and not just being so one-dimensional as a team, because we don't have the players, we don't have the personnel. You might as well switch it up and see what sticks. I just don't think JB's trying that enough yet.
Everything I think was valid there, but honestly, I want to dive in a little bit to the preview of this game tonight. I think that's good enough as far as looking back in the past, but this is going to be interesting. I think we should predict this game at the very end. I think we'll do the 3 other games this week, and then we'll circle back around to the Kings just for cinematic, the cinematics of it all. But let's just take a little bit of a look at Sacramento's previous game. Sure, now they're 4-4. They're not off to a hot start necessarily either, playing 500 basketball. They have won their last 2, but I think it's interesting because they just played Oklahoma City on Friday. So not only do they have 2 days of rest coming into this game, they're also at home, but I was nervous about this matchup, and I'm always nervous about playing Sacramento the 2 times we play them a year because this team has really revamped and put a large emphasis on rebounding the basketball, and we struggle with teams that do that. Let's not only look at some of these individual performances. I mean, this stat line is nuts from Sabonis, 17, 13, and 13. I forget that they have Kevin Huerter, who's their leading scorer in this game. You still have Malik Monk and Keegan Murray, who's
Harrison Barnes. I mean, he had a bad game.
They're not, but Logan, they're not they're not massive. Like Sabonis is sure a bigger, stockier build, but it's not like these other guys are huge. Like I don't think Keegan Murray is much taller than 6'8", 6'9". It's not like they're like chock full of 7-footers. However, take a look at this box score from the total stats perspective. They had 52 team total rebounds against Oklahoma City. For reference, the game we just played against Oklahoma City and lost, we only had 41 rebounds against them. Oklahoma City also had 41. So completely dominated Oklahoma City on the glass and 16 offensive rebounds. I have faith in the guys tonight as far as a little spoiler, but I really don't know who is going to win this game, and I don't know what to predict it. Logan, what are you looking for as far as this matchup? I know that you're a little bit more tapped into these West Coast teams, being in that central time zone and, being close as far as, the Spurs and some of the other West Coast teams.
We got to defend the long line. I mean, I think what was the stat we saw? We're giving up 40% on 3-pointers going into that Warriors game. Granted, we also apparently are one of the best defensive 3-point teams, so just getting bad luck. Okay, so we need good luck. But I mean, a team like Evan Huerter, Malik Monk, I mean, those are guys that can knock down 5-6 threes a game in the same game. Then you add guys like Harrison Barnes, who's steady as she goes. You got Keegan Murray, who's ahead of his time, as a rookie last year. Sabonis is the ultimate Cavalier killer, right up there with Lou Williams of the past and
Terry Rozier.
Terry Rozier, and even what's his nuts? Freaking Yogi Ferrell had his first good game.
What's his nuts?
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of Cavalier killers, and Sabonis is a terrific player. I just really think he especially likes being physical with our Cavaliers, and he usually out-physicals us every single game. Granted, that's his thing, but you know what I mean. I think, though, like I said, defend the three-point line because teams are shooting the crap out of it. When you start stringing threes together and you're on the road and they're drilling, the crowd's into it. They have guys, like I said, who can knock down 5-6 a game all in the same lineup. It can get you over pretty quickly if you get yourself in a hole.
Justin, thoughts? Let's piggyback off of some of those thoughts. What do you think? Keys to the game? Early keys to the game?
Well, like Logan said, I sent the stuff about those stats this past week about us taking shots are expected above 50%, yet we're hitting less than 30% of those shots, while also being one of the better defensive teams when it comes to guarding the perimeter, guarding the three ball. And again, like Logan said, teams are just getting lucky and hitting shots over the top of us and getting them to go in. Going back to your point, Jeff, about the makeup of this Sacramento team, like you said, Sabonis is their tallest guy in that starting lineup, and he's 6'10". Their next starting big is 6'8". So this is going to have to be a Jared Allen, Evan Mobley game. And again, we've seen what those games can look like where they just get going. Jared Allen bullies his way through, kind of just like he did in the Golden State game. And then it opens up for everyone else to get active and get into the, I'm sure we'll get happy feet and shoot a bunch of threes again. Maybe they'll finally go down. Maybe they won't. But the one thing that Jeff always loves to say when we're in, Browns talk is just be in the game, be in the game to the very end, keep it close. And when you need it, just go to the thing that's the most reliable. If it's Evan Mobley in the post, then it's Evan Mobley in the post. If it's Jared Allen in the pick and roll with Darius Garland, then it's that. But you got to know and you got to find something early on in these games that are like go-to things. Jalen Brunson, when we play him, that stupid – when he gets to the key and he backs someone and turns around and hits the J, I want to go nutso every time because I know it's coming. But he also knows he can hit that. And that's something that I don't really know that any player on this team, even Donovan Mitchell, as of right now, has a shot like that, in which I just think if we can find something offensively that works, you don't stick with it, but you hold on to it for later when you really desperately need it while you're trying to, get open threes or, get some nice cuts into the lane and whatnot.
Honestly, Justin, I think that I'm going to have to follow your logic here as far as the big matchup. And I think that's a lot of games, though. It's not like we could come out here every night and be like, oh, if our bigs play better than their bigs, we're probably going to win. Like, I feel like that's why you really prefer the matchup with Golden State because what is it, Draymond and Kevon Looney? Okay, like you could live with that unless Draymond has like 6 or 7 or 8 threes, then it might be a different story. But it's not like this matchup hasn't been competitive in the past. I mean, let's take a look. Jared Allen played 11 games in his career versus the Kings, almost 13 points, 10 rebounds, over 1.5 blocks. Okay, interesting enough. Mobley, not really a pushover either. It's a smaller sample size, 4 games, but over 16 points, almost 9 rebounds, almost 3 assists. It's not like they're, terrible performers against Sacramento.
You don't love the Jared Allen negatives, though, in the last 3 games he's played against the Kings,
sure.
Which I think it's probably because Sabonis is just he's a baller. He gets his buckets. He can score from basically wherever at this point, but he affects the game kind of in the same way that Evan does, where he's not just a big that's going to post up. He's a big that has eyes, and he's good at getting the ball to his teammates. I think he's not a crazy or like a crazy assister, but I think he's got +6 right now as of what I saw.
And it's like those numbers, they're not bad numbers. They're really not as far as, career averages against Sacramento. But Sabonis, he's good against us. He's great against us.
Yeah.
16, 10, and 4. I mean, in 20 games, and he's got a career plus minus against us of 51. So you have to – I would love to see some sort of game plan and concerted effort to totally neutralize him. And I know that's hard, and I know it's 2023 NBA. I understand. I just have to let it go, and I have to, stop talking like, it's 15 years ago, I guess, when Kawhi Leonard and company could really put, a defensive performance on somebody and they only score 4 or 5 points. I know that's not possible anymore, I guess, allegedly, but like, why not? Why can't you come out and have the scouting ready to go, have a game plan and say, okay, if he's at this spot, we're bringing Strus off the wing. It's an automatic double every time right here. Just set out rules and just neutralize him. If Keegan Murray drops 30 on you because, you're helping on Sabonis every play, you could live with dictating the outcome. It's when, okay, Keegan Murray's over here and we don't know what to do with him. And then Sabonis is destroying us down low. Now we have 2 issues. And now Kevin Huerter, Okoro's not playing. Is Huerter going to run wild? Now you have 3 issues. You have to consolidate issues in the National Basketball Association. And I just don't know if JB starts games doing that at a high level. I think he's had second halves where we've seen that. I think, Logan, you'll even agree. But why can't you start the game? Can we have a good start tonight? How many games have we been leading at halftime this year? 1, 2?
I actually don't know. I'm sure it's not.
There's at least one because they showed the stat. They said first, I think it was the first Golden State game. No, I don't know if we were leading at the first Golden State game, but one of these recent games, they said, Cavaliers first half lead all season long. And it was either the 6th or the 7th game into the season, which is a little bit startling. Let me head over to chat really quick before we go to predictions, reverse order, and then we'll go to the Kings. Momo, what's up? How's it going? Is Fox playing? Don't know. Logan is convinced that he is.
Yeah, I think you wouldn't even bother putting out that report, especially if he's a full participant in shoot around. That's usually a pretty good indicator that he's going to play, but what do we know? I'm definitely not connected in those circles, but can't really give you a Woj bomb or a Leduc bomb here. But it is a big decision. I mean, if we don't see Fox, you don't want to see the Cavaliers play down to the talent that they have. But he plays; it's a totally different ball club.
I think if Fox plays and is not on a minutes restriction, it's going to be an uphill battle.
The report that I just got from Chris from 540 is that he practiced and that he went from doubtful to questionable, which means he's more than likely going to play.
But he could be on minutes. If he started doubtful, he could be on minutes restriction. I don't know. We'll see. But okay, let's shift gears a little bit. And I know some people, me and Logan included, don't really want to shift gears that much because it's absolutely abysmal to start the year. We are 9 games in, and this is just like,
I need to take like 2 points off of my score.
I mean, Logan, what are me and you going to do here?
I think I might as well say that the Kings and Blazers and the Pistons and Nuggets will all win, and the Cavaliers will be good to go.
You know what? That's a great idea, Logan. Should he just mark that down for you? You mark that down for him, Jeff, really quickly. You heard it here first.
I can't predict this team right now.
Part of it is difficult.
Part of it is rotations. Another part of it is I guess I'm just more confident in my team than I should be, but I should be, right? It's the Cavaliers. They're a 50-win team last year. They made the playoffs. They have Donovan Mitchell. They have all these guys. I should be confident in my team. They're just really hard to predict on the outset. But I do think these next 4 games a good chance for the Cavaliers to start getting maybe not a streak going, but the winning ways going.
Okay, Justin, we're skipping the Kings game. We're going to come back to it.
Oh.
You get 1 day of rest after tonight. Let's go through back to the future, toward the future. We play the game tonight. You have a day of rest tomorrow on Tuesday, Wednesday. And I'm hoping that is not another 10 p.m. tip, but I'm sure it might be considering it's Portland. How are we feeling? You're 4-5. You're getting back on the right foot. So I'm curious to hear what you have to say about rounding out this West Coast road trip.
Starting with the Blazers, thankfully, no back-to-backs in this stretch of games. So I'm going to go – man, the Blazers are just – it's got to be a W. If you lose this game, you're really starting to look at JB and being like, what the heck's going on, man? I mean –
I might be an Eastern Conference casual, but outside of Anthony Simons –
Shaden Sharp,
DeAndre
Ayton.
But they will not have Robert Williams. He's out for the year.
I knew that.
Henderson is also out for 3 weeks. Their starting point guard they drafted.
So Sharp and Simons and.
So I watched the Pistons and Blazers game, and the Pistons were up.
Not even a bad roster.
No, the Pistons are up 17 points in the first half, and Portland just kind of went nuclear. I do think they're a team that can get hot. They're young, they're hungry, but I'm not taking them. I'll take the next one. Jeffrey, I'm going to say Cavs here.
Oh, man, he's interjecting.
I simply think our bigs that will overall dominate the game, and they just don't have the same experience that we do. But we also hardly ever win in Portland, so keep that in mind.
Portland, it's tough going out to these Western states and like playing at a high level. Like
I forgot they had Brogdon.
They do have Brogdon, right?
Why couldn't we get one of those guys from them? What the heck?
That was part of that huge trade.
Oh, they have Jeremy Grant, guys.
Yeah, they have Jeremy Grant. They have DeAndre Ayton. They're actually like
Semi-competent.
They have a roster. It's probably just like a mix mash, though. Like
It's just like a roster that'll never work.
Kind of like the next team that we're about to talk about.
Yeah, I'm going to start off here, and I think that I'm going absolutely crazy with these rounds of predictions, but I think I got to go crazy to get back in the mix.
Oh, no.
But first game at home, Pistons. I feel like we've had a good track record against the Pistons. You get
a season game, right, or tournament?
This is a tournament game.
Tourney game. Oh, should I designate that with some sort of asterisk?
We are 0-1 in those right now.
What was the other tourney game? This Pacers game?
At Indiana. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
Logan, do you want to do Pistons? Logan will probably bang the table and tell you that the Detroit Pistons are up next in the Eastern Conference and maybe in the National Basketball Association.
He had that opinion last year. I think he's coming down back to earth on this because I don't believe. Oh, Lordy.
Justin, they are down. They're down Bojan Bogdanovic. They're down Joe Harris. They're down one of Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart any given night. Oh, by the way, Jerry, put me down for the Cavs. But they are injury riddled big time to start the season, probably more than the Cavaliers are. I still think that and they've been competitive in a lot of their games so far. I'm not saying the Pistons have next, but I would not be surprised if they're a play-in team this year. Now it's gonna be tough because they've already struggled out rough to start the season. But a fully healthy Pistons team, I'm telling you, is going to give problems to Eastern Conference teams in the near future. I just hope it's not on November 17th.
So what's your prediction?
Cavs. It's already there.
It's on there. It's on there, sir.
I thought I said Cavs already, too. Yeah, I got Cavs. I mean, this is where you have to string, again, if you can, and we haven't talked about the Kings yet, but if you can string together a couple wins and be really big going into that final game, even though
I would like to go.
I'm just gonna be straight up. We're losing.
I'll go. We're losing to Denver.
We're losing to Denver.
Okay, I'll go last. I'll go last for this game, and I'll go first for the Kings. I'll go last for the Nuggets, and I'll go first for the Kings. Is that a deal, Logan?
Sure.
Look at this guy trying to grab a win where he can get it. I'm talking with the 2-7 record. What is there anybody knowing about injury designations right now? Is Jokic
this is still 6 days away, Logan.
Hurry allergic to the Cavaliers or something like that.
They did lose what's his name who killed us in Indy. Sorry.
Right. G. Jackson. I don't know. There's also killers all over this team. I think the Nuggets have just been there, so they're going to win against the Cavs. But I'll tell you what, it would be a really, really big win for the Cavs. But right now at 2-7, I need to start playing just my brain and not my heart, and I got to go Denver.
I'm so glad.
Oh, baby.
I hope you're right.
Give me the 4 in a row. I gotta go. I think I gotta start going crazy, and I think it all starts tonight. You get the job done against a team that is good, a team that is competent, a team that is, might add, potential dark horse candidate to make waves in the Western Conference playoff this season, the Sacramento Kings. Then the Blazers, you're definitely more well-rounded and more competent than them. The Pistons, Logan mentioned the injury thing, and then you're on a 4-game-in-a-row win streak at home versus Denver. And, oh my gosh, I have to do the Nuggets challenge this early in the year already? Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Boy.
Oh, my gosh. Somebody else.
The Nuggets. Well, Logan, you're going last. So I'm just going to say I'm with Jeff. I got the Cavs here. I've been talking about the momentum the whole time. I know this is how it goes, though. I say this, we're going to lose. Logan's going to pick the Kings, and I'm going to be pissed.
This could be my chance to grab a game, right? It could be.
You could at least grab 2 games on me, or 1 game on me.
1 game.
Or you could outpace Jeff.
Or I could get it wrong, and I'm in the freaking garbage can the rest of the season. Indeed. You know what? Give me my team. At the end of the day, give me the Cavs. I don't love that prediction. I really don't. I think hopping onto this podcast, I said Kings all the way. But I think if we're just talking it through a little bit and understanding that we do have that advantage down low, if we are able to attack it, defend the 3-point line enough, maybe we get a rough game from somebody. Maybe Fox doesn't play. The Cavaliers can come out of Sacramento with a win. I think there's a lot more factors that would tell me the Cavs have a chance than don't have a chance. So that's the way I'm looking at it.
So what you're telling me is that I'm the only person that could technically pick up a game.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Or I could just lose. I could just lose a game. So I think those are pretty good outcomes. But honestly, you know what? 35 minutes into Encapsulated episode 4. If you're in the chat, we appreciate you. Hit that like button. Hit subscribe. Comment down below. Bell notification on. It's the best time of the year for North American sports. You have the thick of the NFL season. The NBA is just getting into full swing. You can talk about storylines. You can talk about this developing, that developing, who might be on the trade block whatsoever. So, yeah, make sure you're tapped into the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. Guys, final thoughts before we wrap up here tonight and get ready to watch this matchup between the Cavs and the Kings.
I think for me personally, we're having a very previous, and obviously Jeff knows this, but we're just having a very up and down season, and that's no fun, honestly, when you're going back and forth between win, loss, when you can't build something and, really build towards a winning culture, trying to, finally put all of it together with this new roster, with the new additions and everything. It's really just mentally tough for the fan base, I think. And maybe not for the guys in the locker room and the guys playing and everything, because they know in their hearts what they have and whatnot. But for us, Jeff knows it better than anyone with the Browns. You have to build something in terms of winning streaks in order to really put yourself in a position at the end of the season to make waves. So I'm really hoping that Jeff's right, and he picks up a game on all of us. So
fair enough.
That's what I'm ending with.
Logan?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the reason I'm 2-7 is because this Cavs team can't figure it out in the first 9 games. Every other game, I'm like, oh, okay, this is the Cavs team we're gonna get. Why the fuck do we just lose to the Pacers? Oh, okay, no, now we're good. The Thunder scored 128 points.
We beat the Warriors twice.
Kick the Warriors' ass, so
it's very emotional.
It's really, really tough to predict this team. And that's why I think this stretch of 4 games right here, like we talked about last week, 2 games. Oh my God, that's almost too much rest. 4 just games. Get in a freaking groove. Grab your footing a little bit. Grab from your favorite.
I was thinking the same thing. Oh no!
Yes,
settle on it.
Got him. Everybody drinking game. Go.
Yeah, I just think this is an important stretch. The first important stretch of the season. You come out of this stretch 1-3. You go out 2-2. 3-1. Now we're talking. Now we're on our way. So let's go, Cavs.
I'm going to keep it really simple here to wrap up. Just can we get into situations where we are allowed to play our style of game, whatever it is? I'm not even sure they know what it is. And I know us as fans don't know what it is because sure, we're trying to play faster. That's what we asked for. So it's not like you could really complain that we play faster if it looks bad because, hey, they're just going to have to figure it out and just play. I think this is an Austin Carr take. Just play your style of basketball and don't have the other team dictate the matchup as far as I'm concerned, and just limit the turnovers. No more turnovers. No more turnovers. Turnovers have lost us games, already. We're not even 10 deep into the season. So if you're going to play fast, if you can play fast and not sloppy, cool. If you can't do that, you're going to have to, figure something else out for the time being. But how about a Cavalanche tonight too? Let's do a quick shout out. Hopefully we get a Cavalanche tonight. But with that all being said, thank you for tuning in to Encapsulated episode 4. We're here every Monday night, either a live before a game or an upload over on our YouTube channel. Check us out. Hit that subscribe button. Comment down below. Give us your predictions. Kings, Blazers, Pistons, Nuggets. Let us know what you guys think. And like always, before we get out of here, we appreciate you being the pulse of it all.